My parents said my sister was unfilial and wouldn't give her a single penny in the future. Without any explanation, they transferred 20 million directly to me. The transfer note even stated, "Voluntary gift." 2 days later, on February 28th, I was invited home for dinner. The moment I saw my sister, I was shocked, because her face was covered in scars. Not only that, but her leg was also crippled. Just as I was about to ask, confused, my sister looked at me with a crazed expression and shouted, "Tenfold system convert." A wave of dizziness washed over me. My sister became as beautiful as a fairy, and her crippled leg instantly recovered. But my face was covered in scars, and my leg was crippled. Not only that, my bank account balance, for some unknown reason, was instantly cleared. "Luna, it's arrived, ha! 200,060,000. My parents shouted excitedly. They looked at me lying on the ground with disdain. This poor wretch only saved a little over 60,000 after working for a year. Afraid that I would reveal the truth, they knocked me unconscious and sold me to a remote mountain village. After discovering I wasn't a virgin and had STDs, I was beaten to death by a violent man. I opened my eyes again to find myself lying in my rented room. My phone lit up with a WeChat call request from my mom. My eyes instantly turned red, and I almost bit my teeth apart. It took me a full 2 minutes to adjust myself before I called her back. "Hello, Mom. You dead girl. Why didn't you answer the phone for so long?" I could hear my dad probably reminding her to watch her tone outside of the screen. She suppressed her temper and said to me, "We're at the ICBC on Twangia West Road. Come over here quickly." I sneered inwardly. Another familiar scene from my previous life. "Okay, Mom, I'll be right there." Then I leisurely started browsing the web. 2 hours later, I arrived late. "Mom and Dad, why did you call me to the bank? You little dead girl. You made us wait here for 2 hours. I'll beat you to death." If it were the previous life, I would have obediently taken it. But in this life, I will no longer be that pitiful creature craving parental love. Faced with my mother's angry blow, I directly used Master Ma's parry, absorb, but didn't emit. I was afraid she couldn't handle it. I grabbed her arm that was swinging at me with all her might, and twisted it behind her back, putting her in a gone-with-the-wind embrace. At the same time, I showed genuine emotion. "Mom, I know you're anxious, but don't be anxious first. You mother f*************. My mom wanted to continue her normal attack, but she realized I was holding her too tightly, and she was a little embarrassed. I quickly changed the subject. "Mom and Dad, why did you call me here?" "It's all because of that unfilial Luna, flirting around and constantly arguing with us. We've decided that we won't give her a single penny." From my previous life's memories, my sister might not necessarily flirt, but she definitely messed around with a lot of people, otherwise she wouldn't have gotten those STDs. My mom wore a face of grief on the surface, but her eyes were full of love. Why didn't I see through such clumsy acting in my past life? When they gave birth to me, everything was just starting at home. The two of them were so busy that they didn't have time to take care of me, so they put me in the countryside with my grandma, and I only saw them once a year. Until I was 6 years old, they had my sister. Now that they were successful in their careers, of course they wanted to keep my sister by their side and raise her. Thinking that they had another child, and she was 6 years old, they brought me back to the city. I'm starting to suspect that if my sister hadn't been born, it's very likely that I still wouldn't have been brought back. When other children bullied me in the village, my grandma went to argue with their parents, and as a result, my grandma was also hit in the head and bled. When I called my parents, the reply I got was, "Don't cause trouble for us." From that time on, I learned to endure. Even if I was bullied outside, I wouldn't say a word to my grandma. This also created my introverted and shy personality. Back in the city, my parents saw me dressed shabbily and with a timid personality, and they disliked me very much. My mom curled her lips and said to my dad, "Look at the child your mom raised. She carries a country smell all over her. Don't say she's my daughter when you go out in the future." In order to gain their favor, I helped with household chores as much as I could. In the end, when I had mastered all the skills of pouring milk, changing diapers, washing her butt, and coaxing her to sleep for my sister, my parents handed all these chores over to me. At night, My sister cried loudly, but my parents snored like thunder. Only I took care of my sister day and night. Facts have proved that the more you can endure hardship, the more hardship you will have to endure. The more well-behaved and sensible you are, the less you will be valued. Once, my parents took us to a children's park. I said I wanted to go to the toilet, but my sister kept clamoring to play bumper cars. Without thinking, my parents decided to play bumper cars first. After playing for 10 minutes, my sister wasn't satisfied and clamored to play twice more. When they came back, they saw that my pants were wet. Feeling the teasing glances of the passers-by, my dad directly slapped me. From then on, there was no more outing for me. Bringing back my thoughts. Mom and Dad, I know you're just saying it out of anger. You shouldn't transfer the money to me. I wouldn't dare to take it. I continued to act weak as always. We just want to give the money to you. You have to take it whether you want it or not. My mom's voice started to become sharp. No, I can't take it. I firmly refused. As soon as I finished speaking, my mom slapped me hard across the face. Without making a sound, I lowered my body and tightened my already tight shoelaces. This slap landed squarely on my dad's face. You motherf asterisk 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 asterisk. My dad was about to explode, but after seeing my mom's murderous gaze, he swallowed the rest of the words back into his stomach and chewed them up. He was obviously impatient. Rowan, listen to your mom, let's hurry to the bank and transfer the money. I knew that if I didn't take their money, they definitely wouldn't give up. What's more, I had already thought of a countermeasure. So I obediently reported my bank card number. After getting my card number, the two of them ran directly to the VIP counter to operate. Ding. A message notification sound rang on my phone. 88 million yuan had been credited to my bank card. What's going on? In my previous life, it was only 20 million. How come it directly increased by 68 million in this life? Before I could figure it out, another message was sent. It was a statement message. This transfer is a voluntary gift. This was strongly requested by my parents to be added by the counter staff. I understood. They're probably afraid that this money won't be considered my personal asset. You guys are really racking your brains to scheme against me. After they tied me up in my previous life, I heard a lot of their secrets. My sister's tenfold system allows her to lock 3 of my attributes, multiply them by 10, and then exchange them with my sister. But there is a premise, that is, my sister's 3 attributes cannot be higher than mine, and as long as one attribute exchange fails, then all 3 locked attributes will not be exchanged successfully, but instead, they will be multiplied by 10 and remain on me. My sister directly bound my appearance, health, and wealth. My sister originally wanted to bind someone else, but the system prompted. Only blood relatives can be bound, so she could only choose me. In order to lose to me in appearance, she slashed her face and bought me the best skincare products. In order to lose to me in health, she deliberately broke her leg and had improper relationships with unsavory people, contracting STDs. In order to lose to me in wealth, she asked my parents to transfer 20 million to my name. I thought my parents' total assets were only 20 million. Now it seems that their assets are really not small. What I didn't know was that this time my parents not only took out all their assets, but also borrowed high-interest loans. Now my assets can't be lower than my sister's assets, and after the system completes the exchange, the assets they transferred to me will be multiplied by 10. For this surefire business, they just borrowed money with their eyes closed. My dad said earnestly, Rowan, although the money has been given to you, you can't spend it recklessly. You have to know how to make it last. My mom showed genuine emotion. Walter, what are you saying? Rowan, this child, I watched her grow up. She's not the kind of child who spends money recklessly at all. I understand, although the money is given to me. I can't spend it recklessly, because it will be yours again later. I nodded obediently. Don't worry, Mom and Dad. The money you two have earned is not easy. I won't spend it recklessly. You're right. The 2 words were silent. Now that the money has arrived, I've decided to start my own plan. In this life, I will make all those who hurt me pay the price. Rowan, where are you going? Mom grabbed my arm. Today is February 26th. Just like in my previous life, these 2 are preparing to stick to me like leeches, preventing me from ruining my appearance and health, and keeping me from spending money. Under their noses, I used my phone to hire 10 elite bodyguards, 6 men and 4 women. I didn't know until I hired them that elite female bodyguards were no cheaper than male bodyguards, and their starting price was even higher. Of course, I would go for the top-of-the-line package, $35,000 per month for each person, which meant $350,000 for 10 people. Anyway, it's not my own money, so I don't feel bad about spending it. A WeChat friend request came through from someone called Captain Cade. I immediately clicked accept and changed the name to Colleague Cade. Colleague Cade, hello Ms. Rowan, me and my team have arrived at the address you specified. Me, send up 4 female members, the rest of the team stay in the car. Colleague Cade, Roger. Knock knock knock. I went straight to open the door. 4 well-dressed girls were standing outside the door, chatting and laughing. Rowan. Sister Rowan. Wow, they seem so familiar. Anyone who didn't know better would think they were blood sisters. These people are indeed professional. They must have looked at my profile before coming. Rowan, who are these people? My mom stood up abruptly, a strange expression on her face when she saw so many people. I smiled. They are my colleagues. They came to hang out with me. My mom gave my dad a discreet look, thinking no one noticed, but it was keenly observed by 5 people, including me. It was like playing King of Glory, when you think you've sneaked into the bushes to ambush someone, but we old foxes have already been squatting there for a long time. I had noted with the security company that they should protect me from harm from my family. So they were paying extra attention to my parents' every move. Ahem. My dad cleared his throat. Look, Rowan's rented apartment is so small. There's no place for you all to sit. What's there to be afraid of, Uncle? We'll just sit on her bed. With that, the 5 of us girls squeezed into my bedroom. Tina, get the poker cards from the table, we'll play landlord. Okay, Sister Sandra. Great, I immediately remembered 2 names, Tina, Sandra. I had to admire these bodyguards' intelligence and emotional intelligence. There was no whispering, no dodging. They introduced themselves generously. I was a little distracted while playing landlord with them, because I didn't know what my parents were planning. Sister Sandra saw my concerns and discreetly took out a tablet with headphones. Everything my parents were doing was clear on the tablet. Then she quickly typed on her phone. They will use the excuse of lunch to drive us away. Sure enough, not long after, there was a knock on my bedroom door. Rowan, what are we having for lunch? Mom's voice sounded from outside the door. I could hear the suppressed anger in her voice, but I pretended not to notice. Mom, you and Dad eat first. I'll take my sisters out to eat later. As soon as my mom heard that, she immediately refused. How could she let me out of her sight? She quickly said, your dad and I can't cook either. The auntie usually does. We'll go out to eat with you. Imperial Hotel, splendid pavilion private room. After asking everyone if they had any dietary restrictions, I decisively ordered a deluxe Chinese set menu. I originally decided to order a bottle of 1992 Lafite. The production of 1982 Lafite was only 200,000 bottles, and more than 300,000 bottles have been sold in China. At this time, my mom began to lecture. Rowan, it's not that Mom is saying you. Rowan, we don't want any wine. Yeah, we don't like drinking that stuff, it's so sour. I then remembered that the ladies couldn't drink alcohol while on duty. My mom's words were cut short, and my dad, on the other side, breathed a sigh of relief. The set menu was gradually placed on the table, with lobster, abalone, and sea cucumber, everything imaginable. Honestly, this was the first time in my life that I had eaten such a grand meal at a 5-star hotel. The 5 of us ate with relish, while 2 others ate with gritted teeth. Next door in the Clear Waves residence private room, 5 well-trained, buzz-cut young men looked at the sumptuous meal on the table, then looked at their captain who was eating with relish, looked at each other in confusion, and hesitated to pick up their chopsticks. Captain, are you sure our meal expenses will be reimbursed? Bodyguard Beckett was still a little incredulous, and wanted to confirm again. Cade's sharply defined face, his sword-like eyebrows raised. If you don't dare to eat, then go hungry, the rest of you eat quickly. Yes, everyone responded in unison. The roof of the private room almost lifted off. Hiss! The room was filled with the sound of inhaling air. Everyone got hit on the head with a silver spoon. Kate had a dark expression. We are secretly protecting the boss' secret, understand? Everyone wanted to shout understand again, but when they saw the spoon raised by the captain, they instantly lowered their volume, not even vibrating their vocal cords, and made a voiceless understand. Splendid pavilion private room. My parents had dark faces the entire time, trying their best to squeeze out a fake smile. They often ate 30,000 yuan meals. They didn't feel bad. But if this 30,000 yuan meal was for me, they felt that I didn't deserve it. I understood their inner thoughts. I only spend 30,000 on a meal, you little dead girl. Spending 30,000 on a meal is like spending the 300,000 from 2 days from now. Why don't you choke to death? After agonizing for a long time, my mom finally couldn't help but call me outside. Rowan, Mom and Dad just told you to be frugal. How did you spend more than 30,000 on this one meal? That's right, with your little salary. How long will it take you to earn 30,000 yuan? My dad also chimed in. I spread my hands. Is it my fault? I agree, Mom and Dad. I'd better transfer the money back to you. I won't take it. It's better for you two to control the money. Absolutely not. That is. My mom's voice was sharp. She was only halfway through when she was slapped back with a big slap. My mom was stunned after she reacted. She was furious with shame. Walter, you dare to hit me? My dad stuck his neck out. Why wouldn't I dare to hit you? What's wrong with my daughter spending some money on a meal? Helen, I'm telling you, we have to spoil our daughter ourselves. Dad. I moved to hug my dad, squeezing my eyes several times but no tears came out. My mom reacted quickly and hurriedly comforted me. I didn't say anything. If the child wants to spend money, let her spend it. We paid the bill and left. I didn't provoke them anymore, and went straight back to the rented apartment. My parents wanted to chase people away again. Rowan, look, it's getting late, so. Oh yeah, it's really getting late, Mom and Dad. Then you can go back first. My parents. Is this dead girl's Chinese reading comprehension a bit lacking? I looked at the thin single bed in the narrow rented apartment. This little bed can't fit 3 of us. My parents were silent. After a long time, the 2 of them finally blurted out, "We'll sleep on the sofa." Absolutely not. I made an air Kong Ziwei don't go emoji. I can't let my dear Mom and Dad sleep on the sofa. So I let my parents settle on the single bed. And I took my bodyguard brothers and sisters to stay in a hotel. Inside the rented apartment, the 2 who were left behind looked at each other. My dad hurriedly contacted the security captain of the company. Hey, keep an eye on this dead girl for me, report her location to me at any time. After about 10 minutes, a video call came to my dad's phone. After answering, the face of the security captain Ben was revealed. Ben's tone was urgent. Boss, I lost her. Waste. Pig. At yuan per 1,000. Ben was about to become depressed. He was also speechless. He was clearly following fine, but suddenly a Buick GL8 cut in front of him, driving at a snail's pace in front. The green light, which originally had more than 10 seconds left, only left him with a red light due to the Buick's speed. Seeing the boss urging him urgently, he stepped on the accelerator and ran the red light. The traffic police on duty signaled him to stop, but he didn't stop. At the next intersection, he was stopped by several traffic police uncles on motorcycles. Honey, why does everything in this life feel so wrong? There are many places that are different from the previous life. My dad nodded in agreement, his brows furrowed into a Sichuan character. In the previous life, this dead girl's colleagues didn't come to her door. My mom gasped worried. Does this dead girl know something? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Only the 3 of us know about Luna's system. How could that dead girl discover it? What the 2 didn't know was that their every move was being synchronized to a control tablet by a listening device. Inside the presidential suite of the hotel, Serena couldn't help but laugh out loud while watching the surveillance video. When she laughed, the others also laughed freely. This is like the Japanese devils wanting to enter the village, instructing their soldiers. Quietly enter the village, no shooting. The village chief and little soldier Zhang Jie nodded behind them. Yoshi. Cut back to the rented apartment. After Luna found out I wasn't in the rented apartment, she sent a video request. Mom and Dad, what's wrong with you? Can't you even keep an eye on one person? Luna's scarred face looked even more ferocious with anger. Oh, Luna, don't worry. It's not like we can follow her everywhere, right? Wouldn't that make her suspicious? Yeah, Luna, she's just a country bumpkin who's never seen the world. She only spends less than 100,000 yuan a day. What are we worried about? Hearing her parents' words, Luna's face looked a little better. Among them, she was under the most pressure. If the system exchange wasn't successful, her parents would only lose money, but she would lose everything. That's why she didn't dare to be careless. For the past 2 days, she had been paying attention to her mobile phone text messages, planning to pay close attention to whether Rowan would transfer money to her before the system exchange began. If she transferred money to her, then the plan would fail, and not only that, but Rowan would get a huge advantage. How could that be allowed? After hanging up the video, my dad made a few calls and found out which hotel I was staying at. Colleague Cade. Boss, the car with the 4 tails is also parked outside the hotel. It's okay, just a few dogs, ignore them. Cade looked at the team members. Keep a close eye on them. If they dare to approach the boss, take them down directly, but don't kill them. The remaining 5 people whispered in unison. Yes. The next day, my parents found me early in the morning with dark circles under their eyes. It seemed they couldn't get used to my hard and narrow bed. Another day of eating, drinking, and having fun. This day I also went to luxury stores to buy. After sweeping up a bunch of goods, I found out that it only costs 1.5 million yuan. My dad and mom had black faces the whole time. Their family had gone all in, wanting to maximize their profits. Who knew I would be such a spendthrift, spending money like water? Every time I spent a penny, it was like they were stabbed with a knife. Seeing the muscles on their faces twitching, anyone who didn't know better would have thought they were going to have a stroke. The pleasant day finally came to an end. Tomorrow I would officially face my sister. In front of the Liu family villa, I saw Luna's chiseled face again. Anyone who didn't know better would have thought she had fallen into a shredder. Actually, she didn't need to cut her face with a knife. She still couldn't compare to my beauty. If she didn't get a dirty disease, I would be healthier than her. And she, making herself so miserable, was all for her perverted jealousy and viciousness, wanting to take all the advantages for herself and not leave me any. Sister, what happened to your face? Who's the son of a bitch who made you like this? I said furiously. If it weren't for the Molly smile behind me exposing my true feelings, I would have continued to pretend. Ha ha ha. My sister's crazy and perverted laughter lowered the temperature of the air by a few degrees. Her eyes were fanatical as she looked at my fair and beautiful face. Sister, do you know what day it is today? I shook my head. Sister, today is the day of the 7 stars alignment. Do you know what that means? I shook my head again. It means that my tenfold system can be activated, and you will lose everything. My eyes were flustered. Sister, are you crazy? I'm your sister. Your own sister. Shut up. You're not qualified to be my sister. You're just a poor thing that no one loves. I looked at my mom and dad behind me. Mom and Dad, what is my sister talking about? Is she crazy? Ha ha ha. Who knew that the two of them would simultaneously let out a creepy laugh? Mom. You little bitch. Jinx. If it weren't for being pregnant with you, would your dad have cheated? Would your grandma, that old witch, have nagged in my ear? Would my dad have died? I widened my eyes, looking at Helen in disbelief. Are you kidding me? Walter cheated because of his bad character. My grandma scolded you because of your bad character, and my grandfather had a car accident because of his drinking problem. Just put earthquakes, typhoons, and floods all on me. I also single-handedly stirred up the Iraq War. I'm wrong, I'm guilty. My counterattack was as dense and sharp as a machine gun, making it hard for Helen to open her mouth. Suddenly she couldn't continue. After thinking carefully, it was true that these charges could all be placed on me. While Helen was lost in thought, Walter couldn't stand it anymore. He decisively grabbed a key point. You little dead girl, who are you saying has bad character? I rolled my eyes so far back that even the whites of my eyes couldn't be seen. Dad, why is your reading comprehension so bad? Didn't you hear me at a subject? My dad. That's you. The little sparrow who had always been bullied by him suddenly turned into a big-tailed hawk. Seeing that he couldn't argue with me, my dad rushed up to slap me with a heavy backhand. But please, the casting animation for your heavy attack is so long. Even Shaquille O'Neal's grandma could dodge it. I used the same trick again, bending down to tighten my shoelaces. Smack. My mother's face, full of schadenfreude, took the full force of the slap, rotating 180 degrees on the spot and falling to the ground. Walter missed his attack and was about to raise his hand to hit me again. Stop. Before I, the one who was about to be hit, could get anxious, Luna did first. Her appearance would be tenfold better than mine later. How could she let me be hit? Luna glanced at her mom, who was lying on the ground, and her dad, who was standing there dumbfounded, with a look of disgust, and cautiously glanced at her mobile phone text messages, confirming that it was safe. Tenfold system activate. I felt a familiar dizziness, and then I saw Luna enveloped in a holy golden light. Her appearance began to transform first, and the scars on her face began to fall off like shards. I originally wanted to get closer to see this magical scene, but I found that I couldn't move at all. Before long, my sister's appearance and health returned. A stunningly beautiful woman like a nine-heavenly goddess appeared in front of me. Her eyes sparkled, her gaze shone. She was beautiful to the extreme, with long and straight legs, and a graceful round and tight figure. Although it wasn't the first time I had seen it, this earth-shattering beauty made me feel extremely inferior. At the same time, I lost my balance and fell to the ground. My body could finally move. I knew that the exchange of appearance and health had been completed. Now I was an ugly monster and a cripple. Are you, sister? I asked incredulously. That's right, sister, I have to thank you, my sister said playfully, her voice as beautiful as a celestial melody. Why thank me? I asked in perplexity. Because the appearance and health I have now are tenfold that of my sister. Ha ha ha. Luna's silver bell-like laughter echoed in the air, no longer with the previous dark and strange air. Even the grass in the villa yard cheered. However, my sister's voice turned back to the slightly hoarse ha ha ha. She hurriedly covered her mouth with her hand, only to realize in a daze, she couldn't move. In her starry beautiful eyes, a holy golden light was reflected. I was shrouded in golden light. Before long, with a plop sound, my sister regained her ability to move. Looking up again, she saw the beautiful face that I had seen before. On the chiseled face, jealousy, doubt, shock, anger, and disbelief were constantly switching, which was extremely wonderful. Even an actress of the level of a film queen couldn't switch expressions so quickly and genuinely. Ding. System notification. Exchange failed. Host's assets exceed the bound target Rowan. Ding. Since the host failed to complete the task, the system is automatically unbound. Good luck and goodbye. No, don't go. I beg you, don't go. My sister even knelt on the ground, clasped her hands together, and kept banging her head on the hard floor tiles. Before long, my sister was bleeding from her head, and her whole body was like she had been drained of her tendons, falling powerlessly to the ground. As the bound object, I naturally heard the system prompt as in the previous life. Sister, you shouldn't have tried to harm me. You are suffering this fate because of your own actions. My sister looked terrified, shaking her head and murmuring, Impossible. Impossible. I can't be richer than you. You have 88 million, and I even borrowed high-interest loans. I should be poorer than you. I handed a document to Luna. I bought you 80 million in trust. In 50 years, you can enjoy the returns of the trust fund. Oh no, at the moment you activated the system, this trust fund should have disappeared. Sure enough, after I inquired, I found that the trust fund didn't exist, and my bank message was already lying in the unread column. I opened the text message and saw 800 million yuan had been credited. My sister's eyes widened, and her fingers trembled as she pointed at me. You knew it all along, didn't you? I smiled sweetly. You guess. Then I turned around, leaving the whole family a dashing back view. Not far away in the Buick GL8. The colleagues in the car, Kate and the others, seemed to have been paused when they saw my stunning beauty. Their open mouths couldn't be closed, and if it weren't for the drool dripping down, they would have been mistaken for static pictures. Damn, Beckett let out a scream when he burned his finger with a cigarette butt, waking the others up. Cough cough. Captain, Miss Lu seems to have suddenly become a lot prettier. How did she do it? Zhang Yang shouted out the thoughts of everyone. Cade was also surprised, but he still pretended to be profound. Don't ask about things in society. Seeing that I was about to leave, Luna shouted sharply, Mom and Dad, don't let her go. Walter and Helen then realized that all their assets were on me, and instantly understood, rushing towards me. But they bumped into a solid human wall, and fell on their butts on the ground. Cade and the others didn't give them a chance to get close to me at all, stopping them directly. Walter shouted urgently, Rowan, Dad was wrong all these years, please forgive Dad, okay? Rowan, Mom also knows she was wrong, you can't ignore us. My tone was cold. From the moment you let Luna exchange everything I had, you were no longer my parents. From the moment you sold me to the mountains, you became my enemies. You actually really reborn? Helen looked at me in disbelief, as if seeing a ghost. Don't bother me again, or I won't show mercy. Oh no, it's all over. Our money. My mother's hysterical voice echoed behind me. It's all your fault, you little bitch. If it weren't for you, would I have mortgaged the villa and taken out a loan of 20 million? And you bitch, stirring up trouble between me and my daughter. I turned my head and saw Luna and Helen on the ground, covering their faces. You hit me? You dare hit me? The two were stunned for a moment, then suddenly pounced on Walter, grabbing and pulling his hair. Watching the loving family fight as one, I got into the car. Sandra, let's go. It's over here. Back in the rental apartment, I packed my luggage and moved straight into my newly bought penthouse. I didn't like living alone in a huge villa. The house was too empty. After only a few days of peace, I received a call from the court. Hello, Ms. Rowan, this is an employee of the Jiangqing XX court. Your father, Walter, and mother, Helen, are suing you for obtaining their property of 88 million yuan through improper means. Please be present on 2015. They're really persistent. If they want to go to court, then let's go to court. I hired the best lawyer to fight the lawsuit. He had voluntarily transferred the money to me in the first place, and I had recordings to prove it, plus the voluntary gift note after the transfer. Walter and Helen had no chance of winning. I returned to my hometown, and brought my grandmother to live with me, replacing all her phones and phone numbers. I didn't want to have any contact with the Liu family ever again. The Liu family, including Walter, Helen and Luna, gathered all their relatives to look for me, but Cade and his team blocked them. A month passed in the blink of an eye. Cade led his team to me. Miss Rowan, the bodyguard rental contract you signed with our company expires today. I was slightly stunned, then remembered this matter. After a month of getting along, I really didn't want these pure and lovely people to leave. Why don't you just come work for my company? Sandra, Tina, Serena, and Arya were clearly a little tempted. This was the easiest, most enjoyable, and fulfilling protection mission they had ever undertaken. But they immediately smiled bitterly. Have you ever seen a tiger needing a pack of wolves to protect it? Ms. Rowan could easily take care of Captain Cade and his 6 men by herself. Only Captain Cade could barely handle 2 moves. You're telling me you need protection? Don't believe you for a second. The women exchanged glances. Finally, Sandra spoke up, scratching her head awkwardly. Rowan, to be honest, this is the most uncomfortable I've ever felt taking a paycheck. Let us go protect those who really need it. The others nodded vigorously, agreeing wholeheartedly. Unexpectedly, Luna's system was so powerful. My health had increased tenfold, and my strength, agility, and stamina had reached unprecedented heights. Watching the women leave reluctantly, I suddenly felt empty inside. Cade turned back several times, looking like he wanted to say something but was too shy, which confused me. Just when I thought everything was settled, Walter and Helen found me again, somehow. It was as if they knew the bodyguards were gone. They came to my door just as I was about to take my grandmother out. Walter rushed towards me shouting, Rowan, my dear child. Helen grabbed my arm. Rowan, your parents have already apologized. What else do you want? What else do I want? I flung the woman's hand away. Don't touch me. I don't have a mother as wicked as you. Helen instantly became enraged. You think I'm wicked? You came out of my womb. What are you pretending to be so virtuous for? With that, she pushed me hard, clearly wanting me to fall down the stairs and kill myself so that, as direct relatives, they could divide my inheritance. I used the same trick as before. I pretended to tie my shoelace. Helen pushed right into my grandmother. My grandmother tumbled down the stairs, her head bleeding. My grandmother already had heart disease, and this fall was too much. She was pronounced dead before she could even be taken to the hospital. The police retrieved the surveillance footage from the hallway. Helen was suspected of intentional homicide and was taken away by the police. Walter was also taken away, but he hadn't participated in the pushing, so he was released shortly after. I quickly arranged my grandmother's funeral, holding her ashes, and scattered them evenly in a smelly ditch. Susan, you wouldn't mind me burying you in a smelly ditch, would you? After all, you colluded together, birds of a feather. In my previous life, after I ran out of the mountains, I discovered that the village I had been in was not far from my grandmother's house. I stumbled to her house and told her everything my parents and sister had done. I thought she would help me call the police to bring all the evildoers to justice, but instead, she drugged me and called my parents. When they arrived, I couldn't believe it. My closest grandmother had betrayed me without hesitation. My heart died completely at that moment. I had no more attachment to the Liu family. In this life, she still betrayed me for her son, but I didn't care at all. I just wanted to shout, "Farewell, Empress Dowager. Be a good person in your next life." Back at the apartment complex, I felt like someone was following me, but when I looked back, there was no one there. Just as I took out my key to open the door, I suddenly heard footsteps behind me. I turned around quickly, but was hit with a heavy object and lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I found myself lying on a dilapidated bed. I knew this bed too well. In my previous life, I had suffered endless humiliation on this bed. Physical torment, mental destruction, and despair of the will. In this life I was back, but this time the tables had turned. Gordon, the pervert's eyes roamed over me without restraint, like a dirty pair of scissors cutting across me, making me feel extremely uncomfortable. The corner of my mouth turned up slightly. "Hello, Gordon, it's nice to see you again. Interesting, you know me?" Gordon looked greedily at my face. I knew how enticing my face was to him. "I don't see any fear in your eyes. Why aren't you afraid?" As a seasoned pervert, he enjoyed the fear of the weak the most. If the victim wasn't afraid, it was like cooking without salt, bland and tasteless. Why should I be afraid? I asked him back, a smirk on my face. Gordon smiled brightly. "Because you don't know what you're about to face." I smiled too, even brighter than him. "Looks like you don't know what you're about to face." With that, I punched him in the chest, sending him flying 3 meters. Gordon's body flew back like a cannonball, slamming into the wall and bouncing back, a visible dent in his chest. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. This punch was like a purifying spell. The lewdness in Gordon's eyes was gone. The perversion was gone. The cruelty was gone. The smugness and teasing were gone, leaving only pure fear. Please spare me." I shook my head with a smile. "Impossible." My smile must have looked like a demon to this monster, right? He said in a trembling voice. "Just give me a quick death." I shook my head. "Impossible." He struggled to raise his arm to reach for the dropped dagger, but I stomped on his hand. The sound of bones breaking rang out. Gordon nearly crushed his teeth, and beads of sweat rolled down his forehead. He endured without a sound. He didn't want me to have any sense of revenge, wanting to maintain a non-existent dignity. However, he ultimately failed. When he was treated in the same way he had treated his victims, Gordon became as humble and miserable as they were. His voice was so loud that I had to stuff smelly socks in his mouth to lower the decibels. From afternoon to the dawn of the next day, I stayed up all night. In the end, Gordon became fertilizer, silently nourishing the flowers and trees all over the mountains. I picked up my phone, found Luna's WeChat, and sent her a message. Asterisk sister, Dad said you were Mom's child with someone else, so in the end he chose to help me. Asterisk. 2 days later, I saw the news. Woman stabs father 36 times with knife, then calmly commits suicide. With that, all those who harmed me received their just deserts. With more money than I could ever spend and superhuman strength, I should have been content, until I saw Wonder Woman. Only those who have experienced darkness think about lighting a lamp for others. I transformed into an elf in the night, destroying one human trafficking den after another, rescuing hundreds of women and children as unfortunate as I was in my previous life. I gradually realized that my power alone was too limited. The phone rang. It was Sandra. Rowan, we want to join too. They had seen the many reports in the news. The rescued people said that a woman as perfect as a fairy had saved them. Others wouldn't know, but how could Sandra and the others not know? My eyes instantly lit up. Most welcome.